I call this meeting. Hello. I call this meeting of Central Florida Facilitators Toastmasters Club 9958 to order. Thank you all for being here, and please shut up your cell phones that I haven't done yet. We only have one guest here tonight. The restrooms are out back here to the left. Your first opening, make another left, and all the way to the end on your right.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. As Toastmasters, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communications and leadership skills, resulting in great self-confidence and personal growth. Through this mission, each Toastmaster gains a clear understanding of the club's purpose, and the organization as a whole benefits from a shared set of values and goals. Please help me welcome for the thought and pledge, Mr. James Riggs.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Great.
Great. It's good to be here, even better to see you all. Recently, I came across a paragraph from one of my favorite authors, Robert Greene. And it is not terribly insightful, but I found some value in it, and I hope that you do as well. So without further delay, I will read his words. Just imagine for a day that you do not know anything. What you believe now could be completely false. Let go of all your preconceptions, even your most cherished beliefs. Experiment. Force yourself to hold the opposite opinion or see the world through your enemy's eyes. View everything as a source of education, even the most banal encounters, and imagine that the world is still full of mystery. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll now welcome our President, Jonathan Dunn.
Thank you. To echo what James said, so thrilled each and every one of you are here. We have a guest this evening. Her name is Dina, and we would love for Dina to stand up so everybody becomes familiar with her face. Stand up and just share with us 30 seconds how you found us and why you're here.
Okay, I'm speechless. I work for Fifth Third Bank, and they have a management training program that they have suggested that I join a Toastmasters group to join. So I looked up a couple, and I'm coming to visit, and I'm hoping to find a group that I'm comfortable with, and I can't wait to see how you guys work.
Thank you, Dina. Now, Dina, we're actually called facilitators for 3 reasons. And those 3 reasons are, we are sponsored by the Central Florida chapter of the American Society of Training and Development, which is the premier organization for professional facilitators, open to everyone. We recognize that a good facilitator needs to be a strong communicator, an effective leader, and Toastmasters is all about communication and leadership. Facilitate to us means to make things easy and possible. And tonight, we want to make things easy and possible for everybody. Oh, another guest, yes. Technically, go ahead and stand up and share with everybody. Right away.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I'm Susan's daughter and Stephen's stepdaughter. So I came over with them as I do sometimes, especially over the summer or the breaks, depending. So, yeah.
Thank you. If you're leadership role and you have one of these leadership manuals, make sure you get it to someone to evaluate. And if you're somebody in a speaking role and you have an introduction, make sure you get that introduction to the person as soon as humanly possible. We have our banquet next week, the Black and White Gala. It is going to be awesome. And we have some announcements that go along with that banquet so that it goes off seamlessly. And Toni Gittles is here tonight on behalf of Sarah, talking about something very important, food and drinks. So Toni, would you stand up and share with us?
Speaking of drinks, this is one of the first times we've been in a facility where I believe liquor is allowed. I just wonder how the group feels about that. Or if anyone would like to bring some wine or something like that.
I'll bring the wine.
All right, we found organizing.
Forget the food, apparently.
No, I want the chocolate. For you, we have the black and white cake and the cookies.
I'll bring a bottle of rum.
I
Oh
mean,
my God.
whatever extra y'all would like to bring for yourselves. All right, let's talk about food. We do have a ham and turkey that are going to be purchased, so we have our main course. We have a Mexican casserole coming, some cranberry sauce, possibly some pickled pig's feet and liverwort. Guess who volunteered that? A chocolate fountain, fruit salad, and some vegetables and salad. So we're in very good shape. I've come around to ask all of you if you'd participate, but if there's something that you'd like to bring that's not on the list, let me know, or I think we're doing pretty good. We have about 20 people that I know of that are confirmed. Charlie, are you bringing this?
I'm bringing a chocolate fountain.
Yeah, I got that. Chocolate fountain. That's for me, that's not for you, Susan.
Well, Susan told me she loved me when I said that.
All right, it's for all of us. I'm joking.
And Toni?
Charlie, are you bringing guests?
Yes, I'm bringing like 6.
Okay, that was good to know.
I'm going to have four guests at least.
6, and John has got 4. So we're up to about 25.
You got our 5 kids?
You got our 5 kids.
I have 5, I actually had you down for 5, but you're 7, aren't you? Oops, who has a calculator? 1, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 24, 6, 3, 7, 30, we're 30.
31.
31, no, I already counted you.
That's twice.
Oh, not twice, okay, 31.
That many, you
And
can start bringing in
Gail and I
residents
sent
while we
out
do it
some
for you.
invitations today to some other clubs, so there could be more people. So Charlie, you probably need some help setting up the room. I don't know what's been arranged as far as organization, but everybody come early.
Yeah.
What time would you like people here?
Well, I'm going to be here early. I'm going to be here like 5:30.
Okay.
Good.
I'll be here around as well.
As decorator, I was going to ask for two folks to be here early, and I also need 2 greeters.
Who has to?
I can.
Somebody downstairs for
You
greeting?
do? Okay.
We're gonna have somebody
Yeah,
downstairs?
downstairs and upstairs.
I can do that.
Okay,
I'll be
okay.
happy.
Great.
Okay, great. And Linda, what did you
I
want
was
to
just
say?
gonna say that Mickey and I are bringing a black and white cake, so
Right.
the sweets are kind of.
We kind of sweeted out? That's
Yeah.
okay, we'll enjoy it.
We got 30 people in
I mean, if somebody's deciding what to make.
Oh, all right,
Kind
yeah.
of leave
We have
it that
a,
way.
as far as the desserts, we're famous for that. Chocolate fountain cookies, black and white cake. We've got an Indian dessert that's going to be a surprise, so that's going to be wonderful. Any questions about food or what you're supposed to do next week? Come early, help everybody. We'll need a table for the food, and Gail, you coordinate with Charlie maybe on some of the setup. Thank you very much.
I should do my part.
Linda wants to know about costumes. It's a black and white.
No,
Her hair,
I don't know
black
if I
hair.
can do it.
Yeah, we should all wear black or white hair.
I already got black and white.
The theme is black and white. And what's on that invitation? The best is yet to come is the theme.
Go with the little powdered wig.
So I know we're intending to dress it up a little.
Just the color.
That guy is vicious on that thing.
And the keynote speaker, Mary Carol Holbert. Holbert is the incoming district
And the current Lieutenant Governor of Education and Training.
governor and current lieutenant governor of education and training. She's an amazing woman. She's been serving the district and our area for quite a long time now, and she's going to give an awesome speech, I'm sure. She's a distinguished Toastmaster?
Yes.
Yeah. Good night.
Do we have any other announcements pertaining to the banquet that we need to?
Yes, I just love it. I knew that was there for a reason. Mickey has completed the invitation. It was sent to you on email. So please distribute it and keep track of any guests, or my RSVP is on there. But if you personally invite some people, you know, that's usually the best way to get people here because you're excited about it. It's going to be a nice event. But Gail and I have sent out some invitations already to the people that we know usually are interested in the club and would like to come. So we'll give you a final count by Sunday we ask for our RSVPs, so those people that need it.
Yes, Mr. Charles?
I said this last week, but there may have been some people. Bring as many people as you can, but let us know. Let somebody know so we can bring extra food if we need to. But whatever you do, don't miss next Wednesday. I promise you, there will be something special that has never been done at this club.
Drinking?
Just two things. And I personally would like to invite Dita to come for this banquet next Wednesday.
Well, my mom will be here, so there better be alcohol.
All right.
I guess we know what we need to do.
Don't come alone.
Bring your wine.
Without further ado,
This time we had a lot of do.
Yeah.
you remember how you felt on Christmas Eve as a child, knowing, and maybe it's Hanukkah, of how excited you felt inside and how you could hardly sleep? That's how I feel standing up here tonight as president, getting ready to introduce the Toastmaster tonight.
Wow.
Now, as a child, it's because we got presents that we usually, threw off to the side after a few weeks. But this man, our Toastmaster this evening tonight, in my darkest hour, gave me the greatest gift. And that gift was he showed me that through all the suffering I was going through, I would find meaning in my life. So he gave me a great gift. He's a great Toastmaster. He's a great human being. He always extends his arm out to help other people. Please welcome to the lectern, Charles Bavalier.
Thank you. Our theme for tonight is health. And the reason that I chose health is to actually elaborate on Alan's speech that he so eloquently did last week or the week before. And I just want to state how right he was, but also add a little bit more to it. Because when he told you that not to go into the center of the supermarkets, as that's where all the junk food is, he forgot to say, don't go to the pharmacy area either. Because if you buy vitamins or minerals in Walmart, Walgreens, any of these places, you're throwing your money away. Because 90% of that stuff is junk. Nothing wrong with supplements and vitamins, but they gotta be the right ones. You have to check and find out the purity of each product. Okay. And another thing that I found out is that you can stay longer by simply managing your health. Managing your health is not just a crash course of a 30-day get healthy scheme. It is a way of life. You have to change your life. The keys to managing your health are to eat right, exercise, and one of the most important ones that people neglect is get off the stress, because stress kills. Trust me when I tell you, I've learned that lesson the hard way. That may not be what you want to hear, but there are the facts. Here are some home remedies for your skin. First, do you know that women are more prone to have wrinkles because a woman's skin is thinner and drier than men's. The biggest factor for both men and women, obviously, is smoking and the sun. The main appearance worry for men is bags under their eyes. I don't have any. For women, concerns are the entire face rather than a specific area. I have 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, you also have to introduce the functionary.
Yes. Okay, before I go blabbing, let me introduce the functionaries. Would I please have the grammarian, Pat? Oh, there she is.
Good evening, everyone. As the grammarian, I have chosen the word of the day, Toni.
Tony's the word of the day?
Toni is the word of the day. I love this word. Does anybody here know what it means?
Can you spell it?
Magnificent,
I knew there would
right?
be something that was going to be. Toni means very expensive and fashionable. And I think with our outstanding member by the name of Toni, if she had to be paid for all the coaching that she has so generously given to everybody, it would be very Toni. So that's our word of the day, and I will keep track for the use of the word. And those who get a chance to speak and do not use the word, they will be fined 25 cents. Guests and members who have not yet given their icebreaker speech will not be fined. I will also listen for colorful imagery and exceptional use of vocabulary and grammar. At the end of the meeting, I will report on grammar usage and suggest where I would see improvements can be made. Yes?
What part of speech is Toni? Is it an adjective? Is it an adjective?
It's an adjective. Adjective, yes, it's an adjective. I want to just share quickly, is the reason I picked that word is because I have played Scrabble for years, and Toni has always been in there, had no idea what it was. Recently read a book that had Toni in it, and I thought, find out, I'll go find out what it is. Very expensive. Anything else? Everybody good? Thank you.
Susan Morgan, would you please tell us your function as a timer tonight?
One of the skills Toastmasters practice is expressing a thought within a specific time. As timer, I'm responsible for monitoring the time for each speaker and each meeting segment. I will operate the timing lights, indicating to each speaker how long he or she has been speaking. For a prepared speech, to qualify for voting, speakers must speak not less than 30 seconds under their range minimum and not more than 30 seconds over their range maximum. I will turn on the green light at range minimum, the yellow light at mid-range, and the red light at range maximum. We have Renju, who's 4 to 6 minutes, and Willie, who is 5 to 7 minutes, and I'm not sure, Jonathan?
Jonathan, 5 to 7 minutes?
Well, if I speak, where really is, it'll be 7 to 9.
7 to 9.
7 to 9.
Do we have an evaluator?
Linda.
Whoa, who am I? Oh, okay, so Jessica is doing Renju and I'm doing who?
Willie might not make it,
Yeah,
so
Willie.
if Willie doesn't make it, I'm going to jump in for him.
So then I'd be evaluated you.
Oh,
Yeah, so, well, I don't know if the schedule holds where we can do 3 either, because it looks pretty full.
I thought Alan had it.
Well, I have Willie, if he shows up.
But Willie might show up
Later.
later, and then we'll need Alan is how it's all going to go down. So it's very complicated.
Okay.
Willie shows up.
Yeah, right, because he's trying to get her from work.
Okay, for table topics, to qualify, speakers must speak at least 1 minute and no more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The green light will be at 1 minute, yellow light at 1.5 minutes, and red light at 2. For evaluators to qualify, evaluators must speak a minimum of 1 minute 30 seconds and a maximum of 30 minutes 30 minutes. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Green light at 2 minutes, yellow light at 2.5, and red light at 3 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Mr. Stephen Morgan, would you please explain to us what Wizard of Oz job is?
Mr. Toastmaster, as the eye counter, I'm going to be listening to your use of the clutches. Verbal, most of them are verbal, a few come out as nonverbal. Those interruptions that tend to reduce the effectiveness of your speaking because of how they interrupt your flow. You know, the double clutches you occasionally hear, you've heard me catch a couple of them already, and bridge words, conjunctions often starting phrases. When I hear them, I try to make it very obvious with the buzzer. That's the point of the buzzer, is to let you know, yes, you just did it, because otherwise you often don't realize it. It's not intended to distract you, but it's an opportunity for you to learn how to get past distractions. I will be happy to avoid anyone who does not want to be buzzed. I will not buzz the icebreaker. Is there anyone else who would rather not be buzzed? Well, for those of you who do get buzzed, each infraction other than the icebreaker and guests will be 10 cents, so this could be a very Toni meeting. Since I have been assigned as eye counter. Make good use of it. We do max them out at $1, so don't you worry if you hear it too many times.
Thank you. Mark Laurie, please explain the job of the supervisor of elections.
As the vote counter, I will pick up your ballots for best speaker, best table topic speaker, best evaluator, and most improved speaker. I will tally the results and award the presentation for the award presentation at the end of the evening. Also, if you have any comments for individual speakers, you can give them to me and I will deliver them as well. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Trying to stay in time, it is time now for the big show to begin. Our first speaker, Renju J, is doing his icebreaker. The name of his speech is Chakram. Renju J joined our Toastmasters Club a few weeks ago. He has been waiting to deliver his first speech. Tonight, he will deliver his first speech project, The Icebreaker, in the Competent Communications Manual. Again, the title of the speech is Chakram. He intends to walk us through the importance of money in everyone's life. This will be a wonderful opportunity to know more about Renju. Help me welcome him onto the lectern.
According to surveys and studies, one of the major reasons for divorce in United States is money, or Chakram in Sanskrit. Maybe one of the other reasons is Toni, not being Toni. Money is like a guest. It comes in today, goes out tomorrow. Mr. Toastmaster, my fellow members and guests, before I share a few aspects about the money or Chakram, let me officially introduce myself to this wonderful club of Central Florida facilitators of Toastmasters. This 6-footer, I'm 6 foot, this 6-footer was born in Kerala, a beautiful state in South India. I did my schooling there, and at school, I really hated science. I was so passionate about numbers, and that lured me to the finance and accounting stream in the college. I did my MBA in financial management and had a chance to work with some big companies like General Electric or GE and Thomson Reuters. After working in finance roles for several companies in India, I moved to Orlando recently, about 3 years ago, to work for the world's leading video gaming company, Electronic Arts. I worked there as a finance manager here at the Maitland studio. At EA, I manage about $100 million of operating expense. That's a big task. Managing money is really difficult. As a manager, as a finance manager, I'm being approached about principles around money and gladly share two of my favorite Chakra principles taught by the millionaire Warren Buffett. The first one, spend wisely. Second, save for the unexpected. What do you mean by spend wisely? All of us suffer from the urge to splurge, and we often try to justify it, calling it like, the wedding, maybe emotions, peer pressure, lifestyle, whatever. But most marketing companies know about it very well. They are very clever. They understand this urge, and they make products to make you offer something to get you into that, get you glued to it. Think about the example of how you pay for your expensive smartphone. You pay monthly and it adds up and it's a huge amount at the end. What should you do? Always ask these questions before you open the wallet every time when you spend some money. Do I really need this? Am I overspending? Can I save some money without compromising the value of the product or service? Encourage your family members to follow this path. Remember, if you buy things you really don't need, you will soon sell things you really need. So spend wisely. The second principle, save for the unexpected. All of us know that saving is very important for the better future. But it is alarming that people don't even save for the emergencies. This is due to the myopic viewpoint or the perception about savings. What should you do? Follow the principle. Pay yourself first. So whenever you get your first paycheck or whenever you get your monthly paycheck, set aside money for your future, or think about what you need in the future stages of your life and set aside that money and then spend money. Remember, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree long time ago. So save for the unexpected. Money is a part of nature. It doesn't grow overnight. People make money by staying invested for long term and doing much dancing in and dancing out. What I mean by dancing in and dancing out is don't change your portfolios much. Don't change it. Be wise and don't lose it. In Sanskrit, Chakram is also called the wheel. It keeps on moving from one person to another. So do not forget the rules. Be patient, and by learning these principles, I have stayed happily married for 5 years. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Can I please have 1 minute? So please write your comments. While we're waiting for that 1 minute, I have my assistant passing out some information leaflets for you. And this is the type of books that you should read if you want to get healthy. Because let's face it, there's nothing better than to eat vegetables and fruits, the food of the earth. Supplements are good if you're not getting enough, because everything in the stores or anything that's canned is bad for you. So there's nothing wrong with having supplements and vitamins, but educate yourself on the real foods of the earth. And these are the best supplements you can have. Thank you. Since we're running a little behind here today, and we're having a person that hasn't shown up yet, I'm going to introduce our second speaker for tonight. In honor of our banquet next week, titled "The Best Is Yet to Come," our next speaker wants to share with you why this title holds such a special place in his heart. Please help me welcome Jonathan Dunn.
In the 80s, I used to just love that group, Toni, Tone. Does anybody remember them? They were incredible. In 2012, my father had this morbid conversation with me. I was getting ready to take a trip overseas, and he said, "Son, you've got 2 little children. You've got some mineral rights. You're headed overseas. I think the responsible thing to do would be to do a will." And I thought about it, and I was like, man, he's right. I'm 40 years old now. I have 2 little kids, and I've never done a will. It's not anything that anybody wants to think about. So I started working on my will. And the next day at work, I just happened to be working with a mortician. One of my clients, his name's Frankie. And I said, "Frankie, my dad asked me to do a will, and I'm going to put you in there. I have a very special request." And Frankie he just shook his head off, and knowing me like he knew me, he was waiting on bated breath. "What's your special request?" I said, "Frankie, I'm going to be doing a will. I want to be cremated. The special request is when I'm cremated and I'm stuck in that flame tank, being burned to ashes, I want to be holding a fork up by my chest, like I'm waiting for the final course." And he said, "Wow, you never disappoint. Would you mind sharing with me why you want to be cremated holding a fork?" And I said, "It's easy, Frankie. But we need to rewind back to 1977, Tornado Alley, Oklahoma, on my grandmother's farm. My first summer vacation that I can actually remember, and breakfast was this giant deal to my grandmother. And I sat at the kitchen table. It was going to be the first time I was going to kind of be feeding myself. And out to the table comes this platter, and it has ham. And as a 5-year-old, I did not eat ham. And it had this deal on there that looked like scrambled eggs. But I saw these white pieces in the scrambled eggs, and I didn't want to stick it in my mouth. And as a 5-year-old, we just say whatever's on our mind. And I was about to stage a protest when my mother shushed me and started eating the food herself. And periodically, I would have to pretend I was eating a bite. And the dog underneath the table got fed very well that day. And she whispered in my ear, "Son, just hold your fork like this. You're going to like what's coming next." A buzzer goes off, and my very elderly grandmother walks over to the stove. She kind of walked like Toni, actually. And she opens up the stove, and out comes these cinnamon rolls, and my God, they were so delicious. And later on, my mom and I are walking in the cotton field, and she's holding my hand, and she said, "Son, there's a very important message that I want you to be aware of. Sometimes in life, you got to go through some things you don't like, but remember, the best is yet to come." It didn't mean much to me. I was just wanting some more cinnamon rolls. But when I was 16 years old, I was driving irresponsibly, and I went around a corner that was rated 20 miles an hour, going 80, and the next thing I know, it's a week later, and I wake up in the hospital, and there's all these people standing around me, and I don't know why I'm there. And I've got a catheter in me. Turns out I was in a horrible car wreck and I'd been in a coma. And I know right now, Toni, you're thinking that explains he must have had a traumatic brain injury. But first thing I do when I go to the hospital is my mom takes me to my favorite ice cream shop. Gives me my favorite ice cream, and she sits me down. And she said, "Son, I'm horrified that you had to go through that. It was very challenging on your father and I. But I want you to remember, this ice cream, you were in the hospital a few hours earlier. Son, the best is yet to come." And I rewound back to when I was 5, and I remembered that, and it started to develop some meaning in me. As many of you know, been through some troubling relationships in my life. The last one led me to a personal development class, where I sat in the audience listening to an author named Kevin Hall, who wrote the book Aspire that I shared with you, Genshai, last week. And he talked about a huge problem in society is that everyone is so stuck in the past, and they feel like all their best work is behind them. And they wish they were younger, they wish they had more money, they wish they were better looking. And he suggested to everyone in the audience, that thinking is flawed. He said, your best work is yet to come. And he gave it a title. He called it Living in Crescendo. And I went up to him afterwards and I said, I need to know more about Living in Crescendo, Kevin. And I actually got to know him, and we chat back and forth on Facebook to this day. He said, John, at this stage in your life, and I shared with him some other things, he said, you need to find what you're passionate about. And you need to not do it for the money. And you need to just take that gift and give it away every day to everyone that you can possibly find and everyone that you can possibly listen to. And that's going to be the solution to all your problems. And I wish it had been that easy. As you know, I ended up at Toastmasters. And it's a constant struggle. But I thought to myself, here's another man who's told me the best is yet to come. And then Mickey tells me the theme of the meeting is going to be the best is yet to come. And then Charlie, I knew, needed a speaker possibly today, and I had this idea running around in my head that I would like to take a topic like that and do it next year in the speech contest, because it's really been a theme to my life. So I know you're asking yourself right now, well, how does all this tie into the mortician? And it does. Because one thing I realized is I was a schmuck of a human being until I started giving away my gifts. I knew that through all of these circumstances, the universe had never been punishing me. It wasn't trying to get back at me for anything I had done. That conversely, the universe just wanted me to feel peace. It wanted me to feel love. It wanted me to feel harmony. As long as I was willing to take a hard look in the mirror and get myself right. So throughout this journey, which has been the greatest gift, it leads to the point of the mortician. Something I want you to consider. Someday, we will die. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. But because of all the bad, and then in turn finding the meaning, I know when I get stuck on that steel tray, because I've been willing to get right, I'm going to hold that fork in my hand one last time. Because when I die, the best is yet to come. Mr. Toastmaster.
Will you please have a minute and write your comments for Jonathan? And Jonathan, I had your speech all wrong. I tried to guess why that fork, I thought it was gonna be, stick a fork in me, I'm done. That was a great speech. I can't see anything without my glasses. I want to share a couple of interesting homemade remedies for your skin. The main, I'm sorry, here it is. Let me write it. Avoid, first of all, hints for insomnia, because part of your health is insomnia. If you're having problems going to sleep at night, it claims that it may be helpful to include foods high in complex carbohydrates in your evening meal, such as pasta, potatoes, corn, and bread. Not sure that I agree with that. Avoid high protein foods near bedtime, such as fish, lean meat, nuts, and these foods increase alertness. It takes 3 hours for 1 cup of coffee to leave your system. It is best to avoid coffee, tea, and soft drinks containing caffeine after dinner. That's the obvious. Avoid napping during the day if you have a hard time sleeping. It also says that if you do wake up when you're starting to go to sleep, don't stay in bed more than 15 minutes. Get up, go to another room, read a book, watch TV, anything until you get sleepy again, then go to your bedroom and complete darkness. I can't do complete darkness, but I do have a little nightlight that doesn't bother me because it's down on the floor. But it has helped me because I do have terrible insomnia and I wake up a lot during the night. To keep on with our agenda, table topics time. Timers report, I'm sorry, may I have a timers report?
Renju's time was 4 to 6 minutes, and he spoke for 5 minutes and 38 seconds, so he qualifies. And Jonathan was going to speak 7 to 9 minutes, and he spoke 7 minutes and 8 seconds, so he qualifies.
The lights on. Toni has been a member of Central Florida Facilitators for over 10 years. She looks forward to Wednesday evenings and considers them her mental health evening. After living through 8 years of caregiving her mother and some very stressful moments, the support she has received from our club goes well beyond the principles of public speaking and leadership. She hopes that the relationships she has formed in the Toastmaster community will last her a lifetime. Please welcome our table topics master for the evening, distinguished Toastmasters, Toni Gittles.
Physical and mental health. Table topics today. We have a guest, Dina and Emma. Emma, I know you're familiar with table topics.
Yep.
Going to shoot you an easy one. Dina, have you seen table topics before?
I have, and I will bow out of this one.
All right, I may ask you again as you see how much fun we're having.
Think it fast enough sometimes.
All right. The purpose of this is to learn to speak on our feet, which is often very difficult for many of us, even those who have been here 10 years perhaps, that still struggle with it. But it's a great exercise in learning to think on your feet, but it's also a great exercise in reflecting on your life and finding something to share with the group, and that's one of the reasons I really like it a lot. First table topics. Tell us about a relationship that has sustained you through the good times and bad times. Jorge.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. In relationship, I have a few. Some of them lasted a few years, some of them lasted many years. But I believe the relationship that still stays with me is my mom. Ever since I was a kid, she wasn't mean, but she was very strong. Whenever we got the grades from school, if we got good grades, I used to go and show it to my mom. If I had bad grades, I gave it to my dad. He was like, but I say my mom because she always had the food ready there. Like I told you guys last week, a few weeks ago, that I didn't know where the kitchen was. But the food was always there. We always had fruit on the tables. 10 o'clock we had, in summertime, 10 o'clock we had a food, sandwich, egg sandwich. And my mom, I always talked to her. She always talked to us. She came to our room. Even now, I talk to her almost once a week. And she keeps me together. She keeps me whole. And that stayed with me. And I do the same thing with my kids. I have 4 kids. And I managed to talk to all of them. I have a kid in California, I have a kid in Hawaii, I have one here in the house and one in Orange City. So they're all over the world. But with technology now, I get to see them, and I hope that stays with the family, and that's about the relationship that I value the most. Thank you, man.
Trying to give the perfect speech could be hazardous to your health. According to Dr. David M. Burns, aim for success, not perfection. Remember that fear always lurks behind perfection. Confronting your fears and allowing yourself the right to be human can make you a far happier and more productive person. Your comments about that. Linda.
I noticed when I first started that I tended to not be excruciatingly nervous. I was okay speaking, and I always, maybe that came from being a large kid for my age. I was always the biggest and always kind of the leader of the pack, and had my little pack do what I wanted, and I could talk to them. I was never mean or made them, hate me. It kind of went well, and I could express myself, and I wasn't too worried. And the thing that I noticed during my speech giving was that I didn't seem to be able to remember what I wanted to say, and it irked me that I couldn't memorize it or just come up with it easily. So my anxiety stemmed around being able to not use notes. And that went on for several speeches until I finally said, okay, I'm going to throw away the notes and I'm just going to do it. For my motorcycle speech, which maybe you all remember my uncomfortable nothing would still come out of my mouth. And it just, okay, now I'm going to kick myself for that. But I eventually came to the place where I am comfortable writing out what I want to say and feeding it to myself a little at a time by glancing down and picking it up and then trying to say as much as possible, looking around and eye contact and all that good stuff. But that was my anxiety scale. So I'm still up there on the same old thing and not being able to solve the problem totally, but I feel that it's a little healthier balance, so to speak. Thank you.
What part does the pursuit of happiness or being involved in activities that are pleasurable play in your life? It's yours, Emma.
Well,
Take a breath.
it's been a while, maybe a couple of years.
What makes you happy?
Well, being with my family hanging out with my mother because obviously we live in different states, so I'm not here all that often. And it's just really fun hanging around with my family and friends, especially at school, because that's the only thing that's good at school at this point is my friends, because they all like to talk, and we can talk about anything without offending each other too much. And then if we do, we just say, oh, sorry. So yeah, most of that is family, friends, and just people you care about, really.
Are you happy now?
Yep.
Thank you. Once I learned or understood that failure can be looked at as a stepping stone to success, I found life to be a lot less stressful. What do you think about that, James?
Madam Table Topics Master, I believe that is one pearl of wisdom. Long ago, I let go of the fear of failure in my professional life because the attempt at perfection always fell short. It was freeing. I failed and was comfortable with it. There's always a lesson if you subject yourself to the humility of introspection. That emboldens you to move forward, to make advances towards goals, dreams, aspirations. And when you accomplish your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, you fall short along the way, but grow more and more and more. In my personal life, it took a little longer to get that understanding. There were times that I wanted the love to be enough to support every single aspect of a relationship. But after, and I'm still working on it, I was able to learn how to fail in certain areas. I was able to give more love and receive more love in return. So personally, professionally, again, it's a pearl of wisdom. Thank you.
Richard Carlson's runaway bestseller, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff, offered advice on living a more stress-free life. What are some of the stresses you've dealt with in your life, and what has helped you get through it all? Susan.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. Some of the things that I didn't sweat, actually I did. One of the biggest things that I've had to deal with in my life is the custody situation with my kids. As Emma said, they don't live here with me all the time. They're here on the breaks. Going back and forth to California to visit them, going back and forth to California to deal with custody evaluators, going back and forth to California and having to deal with my ex-husband. No. I get that wrong. I get it. Those things were extremely tough, and I had to finally get it to the point where I could let go of that stress and just enjoy my time with my kids when I had them. And that was all I could do, and I did it, and I'm really, really glad that I did. Thank you, Susan.
After a serious illness, I realized my mother was going to need to be in an assisted living facility. It was an incredibly stressful time for me with a lot of hard decisions. I turned adversity into a positive by interviewing my mother for a series of articles about what it felt like to have a caregiver, her daughter caregiver, and also my personal experiences about caregiving
and I spoke at several caregiving seminars. Tell us about a difficult situation that you turned into a positive. Stephen?
Not quite so heavy, Madam Table Topics Master. An occasion happened back when I was in college and I had started this computer organization. We had done it initially with our own little selfish ideas that we needed to have some room on one of the computer servers. I had greater ideas, but the other two officers did not like me. We didn't get along, so nothing was happening. After the first year had gone by, we did elections that were going to have the next round. I came into the room, we were going to have our meeting, nobody showed up, which was not unusual, so we left. I found out that the other two officers had instead gone off to the bowling alley. They'd held a meeting there on nominated officers for the next year right then. And of course I wasn't amongst that list. That was a very disturbing event for me. And of course I was livid and upset, offended, take your pick. But I didn't just go the route of I'm just going to throw a fit because I knew it wasn't going to do any good. And I wasn't necessarily trying to go for I'm going to find the revenge factor. I wanted to actually make something useful from it. And decided to go, you know what? We actually have in our setup 2 meetings where we do nominations. We're going to go have our second meeting the next week. We're going to do our nominations. I had intended originally, you know what, screw this, it wasn't worth it. But now I said, no, I'm going to run now. Now, my girlfriend at the time, that was my first wife later, had really gotten upset. And she was excellent at the campaigning side. And over that next bit where we did our strange election process, she was the one who campaigned, went around, got all the votes. She was also running for one of the offices. She won easily. We had recruited a friend to take on one of the other offices, and she managed to help that. With all the work that she put in, I managed to win my office by 1 vote. What ended up happening is I ended up ascending from vice president to president when our other friend had gone off for an internship. And then all of a sudden, I had a friendly set of officers. That club turned around, started teaching classes, making money, and did such a great job that the university decided, you know what, we're going to do it instead, kick this out of our classes. Oh. Positive, negative, positive, take your phone. But I certainly learned a lot. Matthew Table Topics Master.
In my introduction, I said I call Wednesday nights here my mental health night. Being in a mentally stimulating and a supportive and nurturing environment surrounded by people that care about my well-being and my success in life is very important to me. What has Toastmasters or any other supportive group you've been a part of meant to you? Pat.
Fellow Toastmasters, this club means a whole lot to me, and I'm sure it means a whole lot to everybody else. I have to give a lot of kudos to my friend here, Toni, because I know that she has coached so many of us and has really done a super good job. I've also learned so much about myself coming in as a hairdresser. That means I think a little bit outside the box and have had to tame that down just a little bit, keep my personality because I love to have fun, but I've also learned how to speak better, believe it or not. I just can't say enough good things about the club. The people, the caring, the giving, the receiving, the taking, everything has just been awesome. I belong to other clubs. I love to be busy and I love to be active. And I have found that when you give, you get back. I am a very blessed person. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you.
We lived in a supersized and salt, sugar, and fat-enriched food society. What have you learned about fueling your body with food that promotes good health? Yes, Gail, that's your question. 1 minute. Not a 7-minute speech.
Well, because I have a major role tonight, I'm going to defer this to Mark. So Mark, this is your question.
Can you repeat the question again?
Yes, I can. We live in a supersized and salt, sugar, and fat-enriched food society. What have you learned about fueling your body with food that promotes good health?
Well, if I ever decide to start fueling my body with healthy food, I contribute more to that. I try, and my wife will attest, I have started so many, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. However, my job requires me to be on call a lot, 24 hours at a time sometimes. I get called at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. It wears me out a lot. My comfort food, Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper, have always come to my rescue at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. However, at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, when it comes time to get up, I regret palling with them the evening before. So I'm going to try to take Alan's advice and stay out of the middle of the grocery store. I'm going to try to take Charlie's advice and read some books. And hopefully, if you give me that question in another month, I'll be able to give you some more examples. Madam Chair.
Our final table topics question for this evening. What part does exercise play in your life, and do you think it's important for everyone? Would you like a question? No? Okay. Charlie.
You could have asked that question at a worse time, because in the last 2 weeks I've had 2 surgeries and I can't exercise. But in all seriousness, as Jonathan can attest to you, I have lost at one time 47 pounds by exercising and eating properly. Now it has turned an obsession with me actually to start exercising, because exercises has actually gave me a better mental attitude. Just about everyone here has heard some of my awful stories from my past, and seriously, I find that by exercising, I get up in the mornings not only fresh health-wise, but mentally refreshed and looking forward to the day that I used to be at a time not looking forward to getting out of bed. So I guarantee that exercises will improve everyone's health, mental and physical.
Thank you, Charlie. We had 9 table topic speakers this evening, so let's get a review of that from our timer so that we can vote. Oh, yes. Make Stephen do it.
Jorge spoke for 1 minute and 46 seconds. He qualifies. Actually, everyone qualified tonight. Linda spoke about a speech for 1 minute 49 seconds. Emma spoke for exactly 1 minute. Yes. James spoke 1 minute and 30 seconds. I spoke for 1 minute and 5 seconds. Stephen spoke for 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Pat, you made it right on 1 minute, and Mark, so did you. And Charlie, 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Thank you very much, Susan. Please vote for the individual that you would like to see win the Best Table Topics Award this evening. I return the lectern to our Toastmaster, Charlie.
Can vitamin treatments help you in your fight against aging? Can vitamin-enriched lotions help to reverse existing damage to the skin? The experts say yes. Vitamin C cream has the potential to stimulate the growth of collagen. Vitamin A, which is the oldest of the vitamins used in skincare, can be a weapon against premature aging. Home remedies for the skin. Did you know that egg whites can make your skin feel smoother and reduce pimples? Mouthwash can help fight dandruff. Try a mouthwash rinse on your scalp. Milk of magnesia can help your complexion. Toothpaste can actually bring relief from bee stings and minor bug bites. Vaseline, as we all know, is a great moisturizer. Oatmeal can bring relief to itchy skin. Vinegar can relieve a sunburn, and I've done that and it has relieved sunburn. Crisco is a good moisturizer for your arms and legs, but it's too heavy to use for the face. I have to watch the time. How much time do I have here? How much do I have left?
60 seconds.
Oh, okay. In doing that, it is time to introduce our General Evaluator, Gail Hill-Smith. As we come close, I'm sorry, I misread this. As we come to the close of the first administration in our new meeting facility, our General Evaluator tonight hopes to provide a bit more polish to the quality and dynamic meetings the Central Florida facilitators have been famous for during its 11 years with Toastmasters International. And our General Evaluator knows we are famous for outstanding meetings, as she has been an active member those 11 years. As a charter member, she's proud to have experienced most of her communication and leadership growth through her membership with this club and the many, many members that have graced the club. Welcome, Gail Hill-Smith, DTM, and one enthusiastic member still after all these years.
Thank you, Charlie. Enthusiastic I am. I often tell people when they say they don't want to come to another meeting after a long day of work, I will tell them, you need to come to Toastmasters. It will rejuvenate you. It will take away so much stress, unless you're a speaker. And it is absolutely a fascinating place for self-development. As your General Evaluator this evening, particularly for our two guests, what does the General Evaluator do? I have been taking notes since I walked in that door. I will give an overall evaluation of our meeting, possibly citing some areas where I thought we were really strong with the meeting, and then cite some improvements, hence a little bit more polish on these dynamic and great meetings we've experienced for 11 years. Before I do that, however, I have a team of 2 evaluators that will be giving their opinion of the project of our speakers. Our first evaluator is a 12-year plus member of Toastmasters and has performed every meeting role numerous times. She particularly enjoys the role as an evaluator and is a past winner of the District 47 and District 84 evaluation contests. Evaluating the first speech of Renju J, help welcome distinguished Toastmaster Jessica Guthrie.
Money, 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 always money. It's a rich man's world. Right, Renju?
Yes.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and especially Renju. This was Renju's icebreaker, and it's almost impossible to believe. The purpose of an icebreaker is simply to get up here, introduce yourself to the club, get some of those nerves out, and my job is to try to point out some strengths and some areas for improvement so he knows where to start from. And that's what I'm going to try to do today.
And you do already have some very high dollar skills. At the very beginning, before he even got up here to speak, he had given an introduction to the Toastmaster, and it was a wonderful introduction. Gave us information about, a little bit about him, not enough to give away everything, but just to introduce his speech, where he was going. So right off the bat, it was very strong. And then when he took the lectern and began his speech, it was a great start. According to surveys, and went right into money and how that had influenced and what that played a role in his life and the principles behind that. So you started off with a bang, and that was wonderful. There was great organization to his speech. As I mentioned, he started and talked about his background, talked about his school work, the finance impacts of that, and then the principles that he lives by and encourages us to live by based on Warren Buffett's experience. I thought that was also very well done. He said to spend wisely and not live a Toni lifestyle, and then save for the unexpected, pay yourself and be wise. And then he wrapped it up by saying he's lived these principles and how it's played into his personal life, and he's been happily married for 5 years, and that's awesome. He had great eye contact. He looked throughout the room, looked at all of us, and he also had very strong vocal variety. And then he had great words. He talked about money as a guest, myopic. He talked about dancing in, dancing out with your money. And he actually used the word of the day right off the bat. So also another job very well done. A few areas where it might be worth focusing on to raise the value of your speeches in the future. Just some logistics. As you're being introduced, you want to go ahead and make your way up to the lectern. You might have seen me do that right here with the evaluation role. Just so that you're ready, you don't have to run all the way up, or at least be near the front when you're speaking in order to lessen that time to come up front. And then make sure you acknowledge the Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and guests at some point in your speech. You can do that right after your first sentence, and perhaps it's, fellow Toastmasters, how do you treat money? Is it a guest, or is it, and you can go from there. So you want to make sure that you acknowledge the group. And then make sure at the end that you stay at the lectern and shake the Toastmaster's hand, or whoever's taking the lectern, because you own this lectern, and so you want to make sure you do that. Speaking of owning the lectern, you definitely had it in a death grip. This does happen sometimes. You want to make sure when you're not gesturing that your arms are by your side, and then make sure your gesture's bigger. You did have some and they were good, but just make them a little bit bigger so that everybody can see you. Overall, you're off to a great start. I think you're going to spend those strengths wisely and invest in those improvements, and it'll be great seeing you speak more in the future. Madam General Manager.
See, Renju, I told you we wouldn't be coming down too hard on you. You did an outstanding job. Thank you, Jessica. You did too. The second evaluator, he says he is giving his maiden evaluation. Well, we'll see what a maiden evaluation is. Alan Lemfier joined Central Florida Facilitator Toastmasters this past January and is our club's newly elected Vice President of Membership. Give a warm welcome to our evaluator, Alan Lemfier. You can move a little faster.
Okay, well, okay, so this is my maiden voyage here, and I'm gonna be honest, I kind of feel like I'm Luke Skywalker trying to tell Yoda how to not only do we have a telepathic thing going on tonight because we match, you know, the theme of the night is or the word of the night is Toni, and I'm trying to figure out how I can tell John how he can make his speech more Toni for us. Beginning the speech, I thought it was extremely well done. We were all in question because he just kind of threw this out there where he was holding a fork, and we didn't understand it at all. It was this twist, and we didn't understand it until the end, but it really gripped us, and I thought that was great. As far as just the story beginning with the end and ending at the beginning, and he was explaining how it was the end to him, but it was really only getting because the best was yet to come. Very well done. It had a great flow and great use of the theme at every stage when he was talking about when he was younger with his grandma and his experience there, and then when he was older and he had the accident, and then just how he continued on, how it changed his outlook on his life now, and we finally tied it in at the end, and it all made sense. And as far as something that I can say, it was extremely well done. Again, I'm trying to tell Yoda how to be a better Jedi here, but maybe it could have been just even a little more emotional in the voice. It was good, it was professional and nothing too over the top, but maybe that's what would have really done it, to just take it from a 10 to an 11. It's just a little more in the voice and just really just ripping us until we're, I don't know, we just can't take it anymore. But as far as the content and the speech, it was, again, very well done. He had great imagery describing the breakfast with his grandma, and I was getting kind of hungry, starting to salivate when he was describing the cinnamon rolls. I was like, dang it. Talking about healthy eating here. And it was good, and it was good. Appropriate language. And he did a good job weaving his thoughts throughout the story, kind of weaving it through to the end there. Maybe something you could have done is a little less adjoining words. How Steve has that thing going like a trip hammer on there right now. But he seemed to have some sentences where it was kind of a run-on sentence where he was talking and it kept going. He could have slowed down just a little bit, just made a sentence, gave us maybe just a second to let it absorb on in, and then continuing from there. But the delivery, I got I'm waiting for it. Good eye contact, body language is appropriate, hand gestures, it felt like he was just giving a conversation, it was great. And I like the fact when you kind of just started walking like grandma. I like that. I didn't even use the phrase Toni, which was the word. So, it was good. And overall, very well done. Like I said, take it over the top. There's a few things you could have focused on, but very well done.
He's launched.
I don't know where the oar and rudder were. You did launch. Thank you, Ella. Madam Timer, may we have a timer?
Jessica spoke for 3 minutes and 22 seconds, so she qualifies. And Alan, you spoke for 4 minutes and 45 seconds. So I think we've gone over just a little bit there.
Over the top. Over the top.
Toni,
I just wanted to add a comment here for Dina. We don't laugh at people, we laugh with so you don't get it.
That was awesome.
There we go.
Yes.
the Toni meeting this evening, catching whomever not using the word of the day.
This is going to be one of the most fun grammarian reports. This has been super fun. And the people who did use the word of the day was Jonathan, Stephen, Renju, Jessica, and Alan, I think 3 or 4 times. Jonathan today said what caught me was the best is yet to come. Charlie, who's not here, give up the stress kills, and before I go blah, blah, blah. Susan, no, that's not for you, that was for Charlie as well, it went into your name. And I can't read mom handwriting.
I did it all the time. I'm not kidding, I do.
Mark, you are the vote counter.
I was trying to make it Toni.
You make it a Toni, okay. Renju, this 6-footer, save the urge to splurge, save for the unexpected. Someone is sitting in the shade because someone planted a seed a long time ago. Jorge, relationships, I've had a few. My mom keeps me together. Emma, I'm sorry. James, that is a pearl of wisdom. Stephen, I wasn't going for the revenge factor. Positive or negative, you pick your fun. Mark, my comfort food is Mountain Dew and Dr. Ask me in a month from now for better food choices. Jessica, you have the selected in a death grip. Alan, how much time do I have left? Dang it.
Dang it.
I don't know how to use that Toni word, but I'm trying to give you your evaluation Toni-ish. Grip us till we can't take it anymore. That's what I
And I have deliberately left our Wizard of Oz until the end. I saw him pull out a calculator. And he truly is making a Toni meeting, as he has been buzzing away. A few of us will be owing more than $1, but that's okay. Stephen, can we hear your report, please?
Madam General Evaluator, this is what I have collected so far. Susan, total of 4. Pat, total of 3. Jessica, total of 4. Mark, 2. Renju, 1. Toni, 2. James, 1. Linda, 7. Jorge, 8. Gail, 2. Emma, 8. Who doesn't know, neither does Renju. And Charlie, 6. Dina, if you want to know, I can say it. You don't know anyway. But our 2 Jedis, I'm afraid. That's the way to use the Force, particularly in the use of bridge words, but on sentences that were going on for miles. Alan, 23.
Broke my record.
Jonathan, 26. But since we limit the amount to $1, that's the rate all you are expected to pay. And that is my report, Madam General.
And I'm so glad that both of you got the email on wearing green, because that's what you owe. Green up. Oh boy, this was a fun meeting. As I am going to share with you some of my observations. I would also like you to take the time to vote for the most improved Toastmaster, and Alan will come around and collect that. From the get-go, I want to thank Charlie, who is not here as our Sergeant at Arms, for once again setting up the meeting. Easy to get in, it'll be easy to get out. And those of you who know me know I'm a real stickler for the placement of our flag and for the protocol when we do the pledge. Everybody, almost everybody, freed their hands when led in the pledge. No one was wearing a hat this evening, so no one had to take off their hat. So kudos to everybody. Sign of respect for this flag in this country. Our Toastmaster, our General Evaluator, and our Table Topic Master, the three of us in those roles, it is our responsibility to lead the audience in a round of applause as someone approaches the lectern or as someone is ready to speak. There were some great demonstrations between the three of us in leading the audience, but I also had detected a few times where the person at the back here did not lead us, rather someone from the audience started. That just makes the speaker feel better. And how about introductions? Jessica cited Renju's introduction. I would like to recommend, we all know that when we are a speaker or we have any type of introduction, General Evaluator, our Table Topic Master, even our Toastmaster, it is our responsibility to prepare that introduction and to give it to the appropriate person to read. Why is that? We should ideally present it and send it ahead of time to give the person who's going to be introducing us a chance to read it, edit it if need be, in order to properly introduce that individual. The introduction, again, as Jessica had cited with Renju's, helped frame, in this case, a speaker and set the stage. That's what's so important about an introduction. So I'd like to challenge everybody to improve in that area. What about the table topics? Toni, kudos again to you. I thought that you had prepared a good variety of topics. For the most part, easy to respond to, as evidence of 9 table topic speakers, all of them qualified thanks to our astute timer here. That indicates a job well done. What I might suggest for future table topic masters is to shorten the setup into the topic a little bit. But we were on time and you did a great job. Our evaluators, 2 contrastual evaluations tonight. From our maiden to our master. A district winner of our evaluation contest. You had some good competition tonight, Alan.
I know.
Something that I would suggest for future evaluations, and something that we all learn from our evaluators, and that is not to delve so much about you. Rather, you only have 2 to 3 minutes. Rather, get right into the evaluation. You also don't need to repeat a lot of what was said unless you want to use it as an illustration and to cite an area where it was well done or possibly where they can improve. You had mentioned run-on sentences, run-on sentences, run-on sentences 3 different times. Unfortunately, your run-on sentences led to you evaluating, what was it, 4 minutes, 20 seconds? 45 seconds. So I know you have learned from this evening with your maiden evaluation that you're going to excel in that, I can tell. If you have cast your vote for the most improved, all right, then at this time, it's been my honor to be your general evaluator. I will relinquish control to our president.
That was a really fun meeting tonight.
Really? You were enjoying it.
Alan, seriously.
No problem.
All kidding aside, that was actually a really great evaluation. Everything you said was on point, man. I loved it. I really got that on video.
It was funny.
Dina, we would love to hear